Well, hello, my friends. Super happy to be here with you today. This is a very special episode because with me I have Sofia Zulaga and Rafaela Freire. They are the founders of WOW Foundation, an organization working with women in the art world to empower the women in the art world. It's going to be a great chat. Don't go anywhere because it's going to be very cool.
Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Well, hi, Sofia. Hi, Rafaela. Good to see you. How are you today?
Hi, very good. Thank you, Sergio, for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Very excited to connect with you today. I think today's episode is going to be great. There's going to be a lot of really wonderful information that we're going to share with our friends here. And, I'm particularly excited because we recently met each other. It hasn't been too long, maybe a couple of weeks since we actually met through another friend of mine as well. Says, you have to meet Sofia, you have to meet Rafaela, and that you have to check out this foundation that they're starting. And it is great. So we had a meeting before this episode, and we had a great chat. And we're like, okay, we have to share this information with everyone. We need to get everyone on board and be either supporting or participating. And that's why I'm very happy to be here with you. And now, as a fun fact, I'm here in Chicago. Sofia right now is in Miami, and Rafaela is right now in Barcelona. So we are kind of communicating from different parts of the world, which is great. But going to, first of all, a little bit, as an introduction, really quickly, Sofia, you can tell us just in a few words, what is the WOW Foundation?
Okay, so WOW Foundation is a foundation dedicated to advance women's positioning in the art world. Literally, that is like the two-second elevator pitch part of the foundation. So we focus on empowering and visibility, and we focus on bridging that gender gap that is so big within the art world.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And Rafaela, recently I love that in your Instagram you did a video talking about that gender gap. And I saw it on Insta, which was great, talking about like 8% of the art world, women. So it's, this, like you said, it's a huge gap. So Rafaela, tell me a little bit about, this reality that you are trying to fight with the WOW Foundation.
Exactly. That is one of the things that motivates WOW. I think right now there's a boom about women, empowering women, but really the parity, there's such a big road ahead of us because the statistics speak for themselves. Like in women represented by galleries are only 14% in the US. 96% of the art world sold at auctions are by male artists. 11% of the acquisitions in the past 10 years for museums and this is just the 10 in the last decade, are women. 14% for museums. It's, once you look at the statistics, it's horrifying. So this is what has motivated us to work and change this.
Yeah, and that, I think that's why this conversation is so important, and the work that both of you are doing is so important. So now that we have that kind of bit of an introduction of what it is and where it started from, so let's talk a little bit about both of you guys' stories, because it all starts with both of you stories. Both of you are artists, and I would love to hear just a bit of your story for each one, so that will create the context, so then we can jump back into WOW Foundation and what it's doing. So Sofia, tell us a little bit about you as an artist and your story, just in a few words.
Okay, so I am mostly confused because I am Colombian American Spanish. So I've spent a third of my life in Colombia, a third of my life in the States, a third of my life in Europe. Really don't have roots, and I've dedicated my career to painting nudes that are bound and tied with different materials. So a little bit controversial for whatever it is that society thinks that a woman should create. So I've spent the last 6 years trying to break into a market that is inherently patriarchal, machista, and expects women to create certain things in order for them to be accepted. I didn't know that this was a thing, right? I just thought I was a little bit rebellious, and obviously what I created maybe was not for every market, but there should have been a market, right? And then I've worked really hard over my career, and I've, let's say, quote unquote, made it. I've been in several museum shows throughout the world. I've exhibited with a lot of galleries. I've had a lot of shows, and I have a beautiful client base. But at the end of the day, when the pandemic hit, I realized that, at least personally, I didn't really know any women artists. And then when WOW began, I realized that my obstacles in the art world weren't singular. I thought it was just me. I thought it was making it in the art world was really hard because of what I painted, of what I did in particular, not because there was a gender factor. I never considered the gender factor. And if it was told to me blatantly, I ignored it. I was like, well, you're just wrong. Like, whatever. You're just, oblivious, or a dinosaur, and you just don't get it. So I didn't consider it. Yeah, I met Rafa in Florence 10 plus, almost 11 years ago. I think our friendship anniversary comes up in March at 11 years. Yeah. So we met in Florence, we studied in Florence, and then we graduated. I moved to Barcelona, and been painting since I was 6. And I don't know. I don't know what else I can say. Like,
that's great.
Heard it all.
That's great. So how about for you, Rafael? Actually, and a fun fact, with Sophia, is that you exhibited with us. One of your pieces was in one of our shows here in Chicago, correct? even before this. That is great. That's good. And so, Rafaela, so tell me about your, artist story.
Okay, well, I am Mexican, recently Spanish as well.
Okay.
And yes, I travel. I studied something completely different. I had to do a complete 180 because I studied public relations, communications, and I was in that complete other world working for fashion brands. And then one day I realized that I had painted all my life, but when it was time to choose a career, I went into this. And a few years into it, I realized, well, if I love my job, I'm good at my job, but when I'm 50, will I still be doing this, and will I be happy? Or is art, that I have always loved, is it time to give it a shot? Yes, it is, and the time is now. And that was when I was 25. And so I quit my job. I sold everything I could and enrolled in an academy in Florence, where I met Sophia.
And then from Florence, you went to Barcelona?
No, I graduated and I spent some time in Paris working for an artist. And then I went back to Mexico for a year. And then, funny enough, we were both, we re-met in Barcelona because we were both teaching at the same figurative art academy here 5 years ago.
Very exciting. So that kind of started the journey. And so now what I'd really love to hear is, as you are now friends, you are sharing your very own experiences within each other as you are, going through the art world, your formation as artist, maturing in your own work. And at what point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe also throughout the pandemic, this is really when WoW Foundation was born. So I would love to hear the story, who said what in order to say, maybe this is something that we gotta do together. Whoever wants to share it.
So it started really, it's a really weird moment because I had done an Instagram live about mental health that had nothing to do with WoW. It was about mental health. And then all of these women started messaging me about asking me if I had considered opening a support group for women. I was like, no, no. I was like, wait. So I met up with all of them. I sat down with all of them, and all of them had like very concrete ideas of what they wanted the support group to be. And I was like, well, if it's going to be no. So I said, no. And then I sat down with one girl and I was like, listen, okay, I think this may work. I'm pretty busy. But let's just start like a mailing list and maybe start something really local in Barcelona and meet like women artists, and that's it. So that's when, I think right away, Rafa joined, and it became like 4 of us initially. And then we announced that we were going to be a women's group. And within 2 days, this exploded.
Wow.
We just thought we had gone out of lockdown. We were sick and tired of being in our houses. We wanted to meet other women in Barcelona that just so happened to be artists as well. And then all of a sudden, all of these people were also sick of being in their houses, also sick of, I don't know, that also needed to meet other women artists. And it exploded.
That's great.
So very quickly, we became international. And very quickly, we opened then a Discord channel to be able to host all of these communications. And yeah, Rafa, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so Rafa, tell us a little bit about, then the transition once you saw the vision of what this could be, and you saw the response that you guys had, and
we didn't see the vision right there. We
okay, so tell me
being a community, and we were a community for a whole year.
Oh, okay, so
it turned into a foundation.
Tell me about building the vision for the WoW Foundation. At what point it became like, okay, this could be something else that a cool group of us, getting together?
When it became a lot of work.
That's a good point.
No, to be honest. So it just became, we got exhibition opportunities. There were so many mails to send out. There was so many work to put out there, and we just couldn't do it alone. So that was basically it. It's like Sophia, you and I cannot keep doing this. Because we are artists. We are mainly artists, and we are going to sleep every night at 4 or 5 a.m. working on the community. It's just the 2 of us. So we need help. And also we wanted it to be self-sustainable, because there were so many costs that were being that just pop up here, pop up there, and they were being covered by us. Right. So when we asked the community for help, it was such an emotional moment, because right away, so many people jumped in and said, yes, we understand what's going on. We want to participate. They totally believe in the project, and they understand where we're going with this. Once we explain where we are trying to turn this into a foundation, so everything is self-sustainable, and we can do better and greater things that we're doing.
Yeah, I think also backtracking a little bit. So from baby support group to foundation, that there was like a moment, and you did mention that it was a year, and it was a year in which when we started, like Rafa said, having exhibition opportunities, that's when we started to see the actual impact and change that we could have, not only within our society, but also internationally. And we understood by listening to all of these women that there was a need in the market for change, and that there was a massive demographic that was being underrepresented, and they were not being allowed in a market that, you know, should have been fair. And so when we started having these exhibition opportunities, we started to realize the impact that we could generate. We didn't see that just with a baby network, like a support network. But when we had these opportunities and we changed statistics, that was like the aha moment. That's when we sat down, Rafa and I, we sat down and like we had a very, 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 very long chat. That was in January, and we discussed this for a long time, and we said, okay, this is where it could go. But if we are going to jump in the water, we're going to basically risk it all, because this can be very big, but it will take everything from us.
Right.
Are you in? And so that conversation in January, super scary.
That was such a tough conversation.
That was super scary, because it really meant, obviously, just because you say, okay, we're going to turn this into something, doesn't mean that, you know, next week it is something.
Right.
And suddenly everything is figured out. No, it took a lot of work. It took a lot of research. And it took a lot of also research to see where, like, which structure we would go for in order to benefit as many people as possible. So obviously we went for a nonprofit foundation and an international nonprofit foundation, because then we understood that we could have impact everywhere in the world, and maintain our core value of never charging anything for any of our members, right? So everything that we provide to our community is absolutely free, has always been, and will ever be.
That's awesome.
It will forever be free, right?
That was really important for us, because as artists ourselves, we know after graduating, there's 4 or 5 years, if you're lucky, but they're just so many things to spend on. People don't think about how artists don't have a monthly income,
Right.
but still they have to pay rent.
Right.
Artists also have to pay for their workspace, which most people don't pay for their workspace. Most people don't pay for their work materials. Artists do. Artists also have to send their works for exhibitions to their buyers, to whatever's going on. That takes a lot of money. And in order to get there to an exhibition or to whatever, you have to apply. And those costs, you have to apply to contests, you have to apply for grants, you have to apply for exhibitions. And we saw how everything has a charge. So for us, it was really important. If we really want to help, we have to make it free.
Right. Right. Yeah, because a lot of times price is the barrier of entry.
Right. They are a barrier of entry. And we realize also that we have about 50% of our members are part of third world countries or developing countries. So that meant that it was even more crucial to take away that barrier of entry. And be able to give these possibilities, give these opportunities to people that in other circumstances would not be able to break through. Showing, for example, in an exhibition in the United States, or applying for a prize in the United States or in Europe, it's something that is prestigious. And if you don't earn in euros or American dollars, or a coin that is highly valued, then it is a lot of money. And it is a lot of effort for you to be able to make those applications, make those deadlines with no guarantees.
Right.
And we also realized through our research that most of the women's support groups, support networks, and foundations charge a membership fee. And we thought that was absolutely unfair, because there have to be other structures or other forms of structuring impact and change and all of these opportunities without charging the artist.
Great. And I think that's one of the biggest part of the foundation, and that's the big mission that you have, to really support, women artists through this. And something that, has always bothered me as I became an artist and working as a curator in galleries, how, many of the artists, friends of mine who were women, who then when they have kids, almost like, the art world pushed them away because they decided to have a family, and how absurd and crazy was that, that why couldn't they be both, the artist and also a mother? And although things are slowly changing, but I remember, many of the artist friends who I graduated with, many years ago, 10 years ago or so, they had a really hard time. They were like shown away, from shows, from exhibitions, from opportunities, just because they had become a mother. And I think the work that you guys are doing is so important, because it can help really so many artists, navigate, and not only navigate, but really gain strength and force and be recognized for the work that they are doing. And they have been doing for a long time. It just has been unrecognized. It's not like all of a sudden now they are here and great. No, they have been, doing great work. It just has been ignored, unrecognized, undocumented, in the history books, in the essays of, critics and things like that. And that, as a result, that's why we have this huge gender gap. Yeah. So I think it's a great segue to talk about the programming of WOW Foundation, because I think it's super important too, right? You have a mission that you guys have talked about, the passion that comes from both of your experiences, the commitment of saying, this is what we see, this is how we can help, this is how we can make a difference, this is how we can guide our community. So now let's talk about, in order to create change and impact, that you do that through your programming. Tell me a little bit about the things that your organization provides. Sophia or Rafael, whoever would like to do it.
I can go.
Go ahead, Sophia.
Okay, so talking about us trying to figure out a way to structure this in a different way, right? Basically, what we stumbled upon was creating a better wheel, right? That was the challenge. And our solution, and by no means do we say is the only or the best solution possible, but it's the one that we came up with, is to have two pillars, and both pillars based around a strong community. So our two pillars are education and visibility.
Okay.
Everything is based around a community, so the community is our foundation. Without our community, we are nothing. So within our community, within our Discord channel, all of the members are free to ask, to exchange information, to exchange experiences, to exchange struggles, to learn from each other, to ask questions, to share resources. So they grow together. And then as they grow together, they invite their friends from their local communities as well. Their local communities start growing, and they start seeing the impact of WOW. Then what we provide is, within that community, we provide educational tools. We bring in industry experts to teach them things that are seldom taught in traditional art institutions. Institutions such as universities, academies, even online or self-teaching methods. So these things are, for example, legality, sales, copywriting, NFTs, how to read a contract, how to photograph your work, how to present your work, how to talk about your work. Things that every artist needs and few get. right? Nobody really teaches you this in art school, because people in art school are either very busy teaching you how to create or how to express yourself.
Right.
Right?
Or how to become an educator.
Right. Correct. So we do what we bring the industry leaders and professionals that oftentimes also have a female perspective for them to share all of this wealth of knowledge with us. So for example, January 2022, we're bringing the head of legal for Serpentine Galleries to teach us about, the most important topics of legalities for artists in 2022. And we're going to be covering, smart contracts and NFTs and, key things that we need to be looking out for because a lot of things do change, and we are not necessarily aware because we live in this bubble that just we want to create and create, but we need that business side, right?
The realities of how we function in the world today. Absolutely.
Correct. And then we have, so the education part, obviously everything is held online because we are an international community and we have to give access to everybody. These webinars are recorded and they are shared and they're accessed they can be accessed by all of the members of our community. So access is exclusive to the members of our community. And then the visibility side is that we are committed to hold exhibitions for our members. Now, in the exhibition side and the visibility side, we also want to break barriers to entry, in which obviously Rafa and I do not want to be the ones selecting the work, because we would inherently have bias, right? Towards the people we know, towards the people we don't know, towards the works we like. So we bring outsiders, curators, gallerists, experts, etc., to curate those exhibitions. We partner up with institutions, museums, galleries, spaces, etc., and we showcase these works. We organize exhibitions for them. So obviously last year we did 3. I mean, last year, I don't even know what year we're on. 2021, we did 3. And we are keeping the minimum of exhibitions at 3 for the foreseeable future. Minimum of 3, and they will become itinerant, meaning that as our community grows, the cities in which we're able to show will also grow. So our members will be able to show in different cities around the world. And so it really, even if you have never had an exhibition in your life, we give you the tools to be able to ship, to transport, to everything, to learn how to write an artist statement, to present all of the work, to apply to our opportunities. If your work is selected and you've never had an exhibition, we guide you through the baby steps of what you need to do, to package, to mount, to legalities.
What is ready to hang?
Yes, exactly what that means.
And so we also break away with the elitism of, the more successful, the more probabilities you will have of having a show.
Right.
That for us also is unfair, because what if your work is great, you're just an experience?
Right.
You should have a fair chance as well.
No, that's amazing. I mean, everything that you guys are providing, all the opportunities from the learning perspective to also the logistics and the visibility, exposure, I think is fabulous. And that's why I'm so excited to have you both in the program today, and of course for us to partner, for future projects too, and support the work that you guys are doing. And I think the big question that we want to finish this program with, and all our friends who are already excited with what guys have said, is how do I join, right? If there's a female artist listening to this program right now and say, I'm excited from what I'm hearing, I want to be part of WOW Foundation. Rafaela, tell us where can our friends can go to, of course, Instagram, where can they follow you, and more importantly, how can they join the program that you guys are working on?
So all you have to do is identify as a female artist, and you can sign up in wowartfoundation.org. You will see that we have everything in English, and we all have everything in Spanish. That is also one thing that was really crucial for us, since we are both Latin American. Everything, all our communications, all our Discord, all our newsletters, our webpage, everything is in both languages, just to be able to reach to more people. And you can follow us also on Instagram at WO Foundation.
WO, which is spelled WO_foundation.
Exactly.
Excellent. I'm already a follower. So thank you. Well, I want to say thank you guys for being here in the show, in the program. I think we're going to have a great response. I hope to see a lot of our friends who are listening or watching this show sign up and go and check it out, do a follow. We can all support the work that you are doing as well. And, really motivate our friends to participate, because I think it's a great opportunity. So thank you again, both of you, for your time, for your commitment to this cause, because I know it takes time away from your studio, but it's a commitment, that comes from the heart, something that you have decided this is what we want to do. This is a part of the legacy that we want to leave behind. And that is something that's very much commendable. So have a great and awesome rest of your day. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you for having us, Sergio.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. And to all our friends, do us a big favor. Besides going and finding them and checking them out, also do me a big, huge favor. There are hundreds, thousands of other artists who need to listen to this message. Do me a favor, click share this episode with all your friends. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure you send this message to somebody else. If you are watching this on social media, make sure you click on that little button that says share, and be nice and share it with others. And that's kind of how the world gets better. So thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.